After 7 years of marriage, my husband, Oliver Sue, fell in love with Ava, a newly hired accountant at his company. He said, "It wasn't until I met her that I knew what real love is." For the sake of that love, he stood by and watched Ava drive my aunt, who was seriously ill, into a rage that ultimately killed her. Then he locked our 4-year-old daughter in a car, leaving her to suffocate to death. Utterly broken, I drove straight into Oliver and Ava, choosing to die with them. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to 7 years ago, to the day of my wedding with Oliver. The officiant finished a long list of ceremonial lines and asked, "Mr. Oliver, do you take Miss Fiona as your lawful wife, to have and to hold, for richer or poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and cherish? From this day forward until death do you part?" Oliver paused, then suddenly let go of my hand and said coldly, "No, I don't." I lowered my head, hiding the flood of emotions in my eyes. What a coincidence. I don't either. Chapter 1. The entire room erupted in shock. None of the guests expected something like this to happen during a wedding. They huddled together, whispering. The smile froze on the officiant's face. He hadn't expected the once smiling groom to suddenly turn. After a short pause, he quickly tried to change the subject. "Well, it seems our groom is just a little nervous. Let's take a break and enjoy a song while he calms his nerves." As the music began, the officiant gave us a look, urging us to resolve things quickly, at the very least. Not to make a spectacle in front of everyone. His intentions were good, but Oliver didn't care. He snatched the mic and said, "Sorry for wasting everyone's time. Today's wedding is cancelled. Let me be clear, even if every woman on earth disappeared, I would never marry Fiona." He turned to me, eyes filled with disgust. "Fiona, don't even dream of marrying me in this lifetime." With that, he tossed the mic and strutted off the stage. But he forgot, this wasn't 7 years later. He wasn't yet the highly praised CEO Sue. He didn't even make it off the stage before a figure dashed at him like the wind and slapped him hard across the face. "Sue, say that again if you dare. You think our Fiona is someone you can humiliate?" The woman wore a red cheapao, her makeup immaculate, a corsage on her chest showing her status as a close family member of the bride. Still not satisfied, and while Oliver was still stunned, she landed another fierce slap. "You scumbag! Weren't you the one begging to marry Fiona before? And now this? Talking about all the women in the world, who do you think you are? An emperor with a harem?" Her furious shouting snapped the crowd out of their daze, and some guests rushed forward to pull them apart. But whether by accident or design, they underestimated her strength. Oliver ended up taking a few more hits in the scuffle. Watching her so full of life and energy, I couldn't hold it in anymore. My voice trembled with tears. Auntie, hearing me, my aunt, who had been ready to roll up her sleeves for a fight, immediately turned back and held me close, gently comforting me. "Fiona, don't cry. That scumbag doesn't want to marry you. Good. We don't want to marry him either. Don't be sad. Auntie will find you someone way better." Leaning against her and listening to the strong beat of her heart, tears poured from my eyes. My lips quivered, unable to speak. It had been so long since I'd seen her this healthy and full of spirit. My parents died in an accident when I was 4. My aunt, barely in her 20s, gave up everything, even breaking up with her first love, to raise me. She never married. When I gave up a stable job to start a business with Oliver, she scolded us for being reckless, but secretly helped us in every way she could. When we nearly went bankrupt, it was she who sold her house, worked herself to exhaustion, and helped us pull through. She was good to me, and to Oliver, and yet that heartless bastard barged into her hospital room with Ava and exposed everything, infuriating her to death. When I confronted them, he even said she was already dying. Ava just did her a favor by speeding things up. But now, I had been reborn. My aunt was still healthy, thank God. Wiping away my tears, I looked at Oliver Sue and asked, "Oliver, are you sure you want to call off this wedding?" I must have cried too hard earlier. My eyes were red, my voice hoarse, and I looked completely devastated. Everyone around turned on Oliver with accusing stares. His eyes flickered with a hint of guilt, but it disappeared quickly. He took a deep breath. "Fiona, let's just cancel it. Stop clinging. It's pathetic." I held back my aunt, who looked like she was about to charge again, and lowered my lashes to hide my expression. Fine, the wedding's off. Let's see, Oliver, without me, how you'll build your empire. How you'll ride off into the sunset with your so-called true love. Chapter 2. Oliver and I were college classmates. We started dating in sophomore year and were each other's first love. After graduation, Oliver worked for 6 months before falling out with his boss. He decided to quit and start his own business. His parents had divorced and remarried when he was very young. After he came of age, they stopped caring for him. He paid for college through student loans and part-time jobs. When he quit to start a business, there wasn't the slightest bit of support from his family. I felt sorry for him and resolutely quit my job to help. I didn't know much about tech, so I did everything else I could. Cooking all 3 meals for the tiny studio, organizing files, keeping the books, every single task fell on me. I was running myself ragged every day. I was so exhausted I even lost our first child. Back then, Oliver knelt at my hospital bed, crying and swearing, "Fiona, I swear, I'll make something of myself and make you the happiest woman in the world." He kept the first half of that vow, but not the second. By the 3rd year of his startup, the studio found its footing, and he proposed to me, though we later faced some crises. We got through them together, supporting each other. The small studio became a company. It kept growing, and Oliver got busier and busier. After our daughter Clara was born, I devoted myself more and more to our family. I stopped being involved in the business. Some of the new employees didn't even know I was the boss's wife. Oliver Sue grew colder and colder toward me. The care and tenderness of the past were gone. Though it stung, I didn't take it to heart. I just felt bad for how hard he was working and made sure everything at home ran smoothly. Until our 7th wedding anniversary, he called to say he had to work late and then disappeared. I watched a whole table of food go cold, and my heart froze with it. I started digging into the people around Oliver. To my surprise, it was easy. He wasn't even trying to hide anything. A woman named Ava Lynn. He took her to high-end venues, brought her to partner banquets, introduced her to his friends. They were intimate, inseparable, never running out of things to say. People around them started jokingly calling Ava sis-in-law, and he just smiled, never denying it. I warned Oliver to set boundaries, but all he said was, "You're so petty. You don't get it. Stop making drama." His entire vibe screamed impatience. After realizing his heart had strayed, I quietly consulted lawyers about how to protect my interests and get custody of our daughter. I thought the worst-case scenario would be leaving with my daughter and nothing else. I didn't expect he could be even more ruthless. In the middle of summer, Clara had a persistent low-grade fever, and I was suffering unbearable menstrual cramps. I begged Oliver to take Clara to the hospital. He agreed, then changed plans because of a single call from Ava. As soon as those 2 cheating lovebirds met up, sparks flew. They were so wrapped up in each other, they completely forgot our child in the car. It wasn't until I called to ask about Clara that he remembered why he went out. He rushed back to the car, but it was too late. That's when I lost it. I swore I'd make them pay. At first, Oliver still felt a bit guilty. Later, he just gave up pretending. Whatever mask was left between him and Ava, they tore it off. I hated them with every fiber of my being, but I had to pretend nothing was wrong. My aunt was in late-stage stomach cancer, and I didn't want her spending her final days worrying about me. Oliver had promised not to involve her in our mess, but under Ava's manipulation, he brought her to my aunt's hospital room while I was away. They wanted to use her to pressure me into backing down. But when my aunt heard about Clara's death and Oliver's cheating, she was so furious she died on the spot, even though I eventually made them both pay with their lives. When I think about everything from my past life, the hatred still floods my heart like a tide. Can Rebirth erase all hatred? No, at least, not for me. Chapter 3. Oliver and I were college classmates, and we went through the startup journey together, so we had many mutual friends. They didn't know about the grudges from our past life. All they saw was Oliver losing his mind on the wedding day and dumping the girlfriend who had been by his side for years. For a while, everyone was either sympathizing with me or cursing Oliver as a scumbag. I pretended to be heartbroken and stayed home sorting documents for 2 days, then showed up at Oliver's studio with a few friends. The moment I stepped inside, I was shocked by the mess. Trash was scattered all over the floor. Half-eaten takeout boxes covered the tables, and the air was filled with an indescribable stench. I looked around and asked the nearest person, "Where's Oliver?" Daniel gave me an awkward smile. "Sis-in-law. Here to see Oliver?" "Sis-in-law? Don't flatter me." I let out a cold snort. "I'll ask again. Where is he? I need to speak with him." Daniel shrank back slightly and looked to the others for help. The studio was small. Besides Oliver Sue, there were 6 others, all of whom had attended that farcical wedding. They exchanged uncertain glances until one man with heavy eye bags and a plaid shirt stepped forward. Oliver stepped out. "He's not here right now." "Martin?" I fished his name out from my memory. In the previous life, he left the company 5 years into my marriage with Oliver, claiming they had creative differences. By then I wasn't going to the company much, but we had gone through hard times together, so I called him to invite him to dinner when I heard the news. He declined and only said over the phone, "Fiona, you're a good person. Let me give you some advice. Oliver is trash. Be careful." At the time, I thought he said that out of spite toward Oliver. Later I realized he had probably seen through him long ago. I took a deep breath and softened my tone a bit. "I really need to talk to Oliver. Can you help me get him back here?" Daniel immediately jumped in. "Of course. Sis-in-law, give me a sec. I'll call him now." I frowned slightly but didn't bother correcting him this time. The phone rang a few times, and then Oliver's voice came through. "Hey, baby, what's up?" "Oliver, sis-in-law is here to see you." Click. Oliver hung up abruptly, leaving Daniel mid-sentence with a face full of embarrassment. He forced a smile. Maybe he's busy." I cut him off. "No need to explain. Since he's not here, just pass a message for me. The money I invested in the studio, plus the unpaid wages he owes me, I want it all back within 2 days. If not, I'll let the court handle it." Back when the studio was struggling, I put in all my savings and even borrowed from my aunt. I handled everything without ever asking for pay. He once held me in his arms and said, "To have a wife like you, what more could a man want?" Thinking about it now, I feel like a complete fool. Daniel froze, flustered. "Wait, don't be like that. Sis-in-law, the studio's finally doing well. Why take the money out now?" As it touched their own interests, the others started trying to talk me down too. "Don't be mad, sis-in-law. Wait for Oliver to come back and talk it out calmly, okay? Yeah, you've been together for so many years. Don't throw it all away over something small." "Exactly, sis-in-law. Even if you're upset with Oliver, don't take it out on the studio, all right?" They all seemed to be trying to help, but really, they were blaming me for being unreasonable. I knew the studio meant a lot to them. I also knew that pulling out now would hit them hard. But why should I care? They might call me sis-in-law, but in the end, they were Oliver's friends. In my past life, when he was entangled with Ava, these core members of the company must have known something. Yet they said nothing, not even a whisper reached me. So why should I consider their feelings? Enough. Just pass the message to Oliver. After all, he had far more to worry about next. "Fiona, what the hell do you want?" Oliver's roar exploded through the phone the moment he picked up. "You know, we just poured money into new equipment, and the payment for the new project hasn't even come in yet. What's the point of pulling out now?" "So?" My expression didn't change. "What does any of that have to do with me?" He choked on his words, then softened his tone. "Fiona, I know you're mad about the wedding, but don't take it out on the studio, okay? The team's been working hard with me, and I promised them bonuses by the end of the month. So I cut him off, bored. "Oliver, just answer me. Are you paying me back or not? If not, I'll sue, and don't blame me when the court summons shows up." He was silent for a moment, then his voice dropped low. "You really gonna be this heartless? Not even a little consideration for what we had? For the guys in the studio? Consideration?" Oliver still thought I was the same soft-hearted, naive Fiona. Thought I was just mad about being dumped and could be guilt-tripped. What kind of consideration could we possibly have left? I said coldly, "The kind where I suffer with you through everything, only to be humiliated by you at our wedding?" Chapter 4. Oliver probably remembered his early reincarnation antics and was momentarily speechless. If he brought up the whole "I got hit by a car in my past life" thing, people would think he'd gone insane. He couldn't even make up a believable excuse. He sighed. sounding tired. Can you give me a little more time? Trust me, the studio will make money. I'll pay you back double. No, I cut him off coldly. After all, I wasn't trying to profit, I just wanted to make things difficult for him. Seeing that I wasn't going to budge, Oliver could only hang up after spitting out, "You're ruthless." Truthfully, even if I forcefully took the money back, it wouldn't collapse his studio immediately, but it would definitely mess up their cash flow for a while. And during that time, I could work on sabotaging the contracts he was hoping to get. Thinking of this, I made another call to my aunt. "Auntie, about the rent on Oliver's studio, can you tell Uncle Zhao not to give him that discount anymore?" You think I needed reminding? Relax. I already said something. If I'd known, I wouldn't have helped in the first place. Such a waste of goodwill. Back in the early days of the startup, Oliver had no money and couldn't afford a decent space. After getting rejected multiple times and even mocked by agents for being broke, I secretly asked my aunt for help. She connected us with Uncle Zhao, a friend from her sales days, and we rented the current place below market rate. I never told Oliver I had a hand in it, just said the landlord liked his vibe. I wanted to protect his ego. Looking back, what kind of lovesick fool was I? I shook the water out of my head and playfully said, "Auntie, you're amazing. Hey, let's go to the hospital together sometime soon." Hospital? Fiona, are you not feeling well? No, I'm fine. I just realized it's been forever since our last checkup. Come with me. You little. Fine. You make the appointment and let me know. I hung up and breathed a sigh of relief. In this life, I'd make sure my aunt took care of her health. I'd never let her suffer the way she did last time. This time, we were going to be okay. Oliver came back later, trying to plead with me again. He even got mutual friends to act as mediators. I didn't budge. I gave him a final warning. He asked me to visit his studio. Said we should talk things out. Something didn't sit right with me, so I had someone follow him for a few days and ended up uncovering a bombshell. Oliver had been visiting a high school, and he seemed very close with one of the female students there. The moment I saw the photos, I recognized her, Ava. For a second, I didn't know whether to praise Oliver for his loyalty or curse him for being ruled by his downstairs brain. Ava was 8 years younger than him. At this point, she was still underage. I hired someone to collect evidence of their inappropriate relationship and brought a few strong bodyguards with me to meet Oliver at his studio. When we arrived, the place was dead quiet, no lights, no sounds. "Oliver, you here?" I stopped cautiously at the entrance and motioned for a bodyguard to go in first. He nodded and walked in carefully. Seconds later, there was a crash and a scream inside. "H! Who are you? Help! Somebody help!" Click! The lights turned on. Oliver was pinned to the floor, arms twisted behind his back by one of the bodyguards. The rest of the studio crew rushed to pull them apart. When Daniel saw me, his eyes lit up. "Sis-in-law." He took a couple steps toward me, then froze at the sight of my bodyguards. "These guys, you brought them?" I ignored him, arms crossed. I stared at Oliver pinned on the ground. "What did you want me here for?" Struggling, Oliver gave up and played the victim. "Fiona, what's the meaning of this? I should be asking you. If I'd walked in alone, I'd be the one on the floor right now, wouldn't I?" "You got it all wrong. Oliver just wanted to surprise you." Daniel butted in, pointing to the cake and decorations. "He wanted to throw you a birthday party and make peace." I signaled the bodyguard to release him. Oliver quickly stood, straightening his clothes with a bitter smile. "Sorry, Fiona, I didn't mean to scare you. I just remembered it was your birthday today. I wanted to celebrate with you." There was a touch of sorrow in his eyes, a sad smile on his lips. He looked like the poor soul who'd been wronged. I had to admit, his acting was impressive. Clap, clap, clap. I clapped slowly, expression full of mock admiration. "Oliver, I never realized how good of an actor you are. Honestly, it's a waste for you not to be on screen." He stayed silent, while his buddies jumped in to defend him. "Come on, sis-in-law, don't be like that. You have no idea how much effort Oliver put into this party." Every couple argues. "You've been together so long, can't you forgive him just once?" Sure, Oliver made mistakes, but you're not perfect either, are you? He works so hard for your future happiness, he's allowed to break down now and then, right? Enough. Oliver interrupted them sharply, his eyes fixed on me, filled with sadness. It's all my fault. Fiona, don't blame them. His gang still looked ready to say more, until I raised my hand. My bodyguards stepped forward silently. Big and intimidating, the room went quiet. I walked to the table, pulled down a decoration, and sneered. You're right about one thing, you really did me wrong. Chapter 5. This heartfelt surprise of yours, is it the ugly, cheap decorations and a random cake from the corner store? Or was it the way you pretended to care while looking absolutely disgusted? Before Oliver could answer, I continued. Do you really think you're some kind of martyr? What? Playing the hero by lowering yourself to please your disgusting ex? Wow. Such noble suffering. Huh? Oliver's muscles tensed. The fire in his eyes looked like it might explode. Fiona! I'm not deaf. No need to yell. I glanced at him and pulled over a chair to sit down. Oliver. Enough with the theatrics. I've got just one thing to say. Pay me back. If not, I'll see you in court, whether or not your precious studio survives. That's your problem. A few people in the studio were glaring at me like I'd just killed their dog. I pointed at one of them. Hey, you, got a problem with me? He didn't expect to be called out and quickly looked away. What gives you the right to be mad at me? What's wrong with me taking back what's mine? Or was it wrong of me to lend you money when you were broke and barely holding it together? You ungrateful leeches. Someone couldn't hold back and shouted. We're not ungrateful. Oh, really? Ask yourselves, how did I ever treat you over these 3 years? I handled your food, housing, daily crap, hell. I was more responsible than your mothers. And what did you all do in return? I got dumped and humiliated by this piece of trash at my wedding. And suddenly it's my fault? Wow, the way you all twist facts. No wonder you're such great friends. The more I talked, the more the rage built up. Even though I'd already known in my past life that these people weren't worth it. Facing them now still made me bitter over the old me. Maybe they still had a sliver of shame. Everyone looked down, guilty and silent. Seeing no one step up to defend him, Oliver came forward again. Fiona, I get that you're angry, but that doesn't mean you can take it out on people who've done nothing wrong. I let out a sarcastic laugh. Wow, Oliver, you really mastered the art of blame shifting. I'm done talking. Just answer this. Are you paying or not? If not, I'm walking out, and the court can settle it. Fiona, you're being unreasonable. 1. Come on, don't do this. 2. Wait. 3. I motioned to the bodyguards. We turned to leave, and just before we reached the door, Oliver shouted, I'll pay. I held out my hand. See? Was that so hard? Give me the money. Not today. Seeing my expression, he added, tomorrow. I just need time to move some funds around. Tomorrow night at the latest. That includes all the unpaid wages from over the years. You better calculate every cent. He gritted his teeth. Don't worry, you'll get what's yours. I made him repeat the promise on video and got ready to leave with my bodyguards. He looked at me like he was feeling some deep emotion. You weren't like this before. Heh. I let out a short laugh. Oliver, quit acting. Wouldn't want your little girlfriend getting jealous. The moment those words left my mouth, everyone turned to look at him in shock. Oliver immediately denied it. What are you talking about? I don't have a girlfriend. So, he hadn't told anyone about Ava. Must be because he knew damn well how wrong it was. I had no intention of helping him keep the secret. No girlfriend? Then who were you all over at the hotel? Hugging, cuddling, what? Is she your cousin? No, it's not like that. He still wouldn't admit it, but his panic said it all. All the people who had been trying to talk me down suddenly went quiet. I gave the studio one last glance. It was still covered in balloons and cheesy decorations. Oliver, if you're going to lie, at least do your homework. Today's not even my birthday. Clara and I were born 3 days apart. After getting married, I stopped celebrating my own birthday and only celebrated Clara's. In the beginning, Oliver still remembered to get me gifts. Later, he just bought a cake for the two of us on Clara's birthday. Eventually, he was so busy flirting with Ava that he forgot even Clara's birthday. As for mine, maybe Oliver from 7 years ago would have remembered. But the Oliver standing here today had long since forgotten. Chapter 6. Oliver paid the money back on time, every cent of it, and even sent me a message that said, "Let's part on good terms." Maybe he was afraid I'd keep stirring the pot, or maybe he was worried I'd expose his affair with Ava. As soon as the money hit my account, I launched the next phase of my plan. It was still early days. The studio had gained some recognition, but it would take another year, under the right policies and opportunities, to truly take off. Back then, I handled almost all of the studio's odd jobs, including client communications. In other words, I had the contact info for most of our clients, and with my memories from the past, I even knew which ones were potential clients. I discreetly passed this info on to people who needed it. That way, I earned some favors while also diverting business away from Oliver's studio. Because of the money he repaid me, the bonuses he'd promised his team were definitely off the table. And once no new projects came in, even regular salaries would be at risk. Sure, those guys were Oliver's buddies, but when money's involved, even blood brothers draw the line. Would they really keep following him with no profits in sight? Even if they were willing, would their families let them sink with a ship that was clearly taking on water? I'd played nanny to those people for 3 years. I couldn't control them, but I could absolutely feed some harmless suggestions to their family members and stir the pot that way. And Oliver? After playing CEO for years, could he really lower himself to grind for new business again? Could he calmly work with people he'd end up falling out with in the future? And let's not forget Ava, the little mess he created himself. An adult dating a high schooler? I didn't even need to step in, society itself would condemn him. I leaked the news to Ava's family. They did show up at the studio once, caused a scene, but Oliver managed to calm them down. Eventually, they even seemed to approve of the relationship, acting like they were ready to welcome him as a son-in-law. I wasn't surprised, nor did I feel sorry. What kind of parents let their underage daughter date a grown man just for money? The moment Oliver shows the slightest sign of financial collapse, they'll turn into wolves, sucking every last drop of value from him. I was patient, digging a little deeper each day, quietly waiting for the day his empire would fall. In the 4th month of my rebirth, 2 employees left Oliver's studio due to unpaid wages. He tried hard to keep them, but one said, "Oliver, it's not that I don't want to help, but I have to think about my family. If I stay here and we still don't make any money, how am I supposed to pay my mortgage and car loan? My wife's 7 months pregnant. Once the baby comes, that's a whole new expense. What am I supposed to feed them? Air? How do I know that conversation?" Well, that brings us to the second person who left. Martin. What's up? He was still in that same old plaid shirt, eye bags darker than ever, looking like he hadn't slept in days, holding a coffee cup awkwardly. He said, "Fiona, I want to apologize for what happened the day you came to the studio. I'm really sorry. I had no idea Oliver had already been cheating on you. I honestly thought he wanted to get back together." Okay, enough small talk. I waved him off. Let's get to the point. He sipped his coffee, stole a glance at me, and finally muttered, "Fiona, could you lend me some money?" Money? I was surprised. Why would you come to me for that? Martin hung his head even lower. His knuckles were white from how tightly he gripped the cup. The studio's been struggling. Everyone's having a hard time. My dad fell and needs surgery. I've scraped together most of the costs, but I'm still short, just 30,000 yuan. Fiona, you know my skills. I'll find a new job fast. As soon as I get paid, I'll repay you. It took me a second, but then I remembered something similar had happened in my past life too. Only back then, I hadn't pulled out funding or sabotaged things. Martin got his bonus and paycheck, so the pressure wasn't this bad. This was before small loan platforms became a thing. He must have had no other option but to come to me. What about Oliver? I asked. Even after repaying me, he should still have 30,000, right? After all, the people I hired to keep tabs on him told me he just gifted Ava's family a ton of expensive stuff. Martin said nothing, but there was a flicker of resentment in his eyes. I understood. Oliver was petty. The only reason he hadn't kicked Martin out post-rebirth was probably tolerance at best, but loaning him money? No way. And the others didn't know the past. All they saw was Oliver being cold, refusing to help an old friend. TSK. What a great chance to ruin him. I pretended to think for a bit, then said, All right. His eyes lit up, but before he could thank me, I continued. I can even recommend a job. The pay's good, and the boss is nice. If you pass the interview, he might even advance your salary. The company I mentioned was Oliver's biggest competitor in my past life. We'd already made contact while I was sabotaging his projects. Say what you want about the studio crew, but they were capable. That company would definitely want them. I looked Martin in the eye and added meaningfully, "You could all give it a try." Martin caught on immediately. He nodded solemnly. "Thank you, Fiona. I'll talk to the others, see if they want to come with me." Chapter 7. Martin was fast and efficient. Just a week later, he reported his results, and they were impressive. Not only did he leave, he also convinced 2 more people to jump ship with him. Oliver was probably still wondering how, despite being reborn, he was doing worse than before. He had a lot of knowledge from his past life. Sure, but in this timeline, he was just a small-time studio owner. His current status didn't give him access to the same partners and resources as before. Still, if he calmed down and focused on building things from the ground up again, he might be able to regain his former glory. My goal was simple: never let him find that calm. Due to the staff turnover and a drop in business, Oliver's studio was on the verge of collapse. He didn't even have time to accompany Ava anymore, let alone her parents. I hired a few older ladies to hang around Ava's neighborhood parks and apartment complex, casually chatting about the kids' work situations, dropping Oliver's studio name here and there. After a few days of baiting, Ava's parents finally took notice and started asking questions. The ladies gladly obliged, with some heavy seasoning, feeding them a pile of so-called insider info. The grand conclusion? Oliver's studio was about to go under. He was practically bankrupt. Of course, the truth wasn't that bad, but Ava's parents didn't know that. They didn't dare confront Oliver directly, so they started digging around on the side. And what they heard was, the studio was drowning in debt. Creditors kept showing up in mobs, backed up by me and my bodyguards blocking the front door. The studio was bleeding employees. Several key people had already jumped ship, thanks to Martin and the others leaving. The studio was in constant crisis. Oliver was so stressed that he barely paid attention to Ava or her family. Also true, all these clues, mixed with a bit of guided misunderstanding, pushed Ava's parents into wanting her to break up with Oliver. Of course, before breaking up, they'd want to squeeze some last benefits out of him. Maybe they hadn't yet figured out how, but that's okay. I helped them out. I compiled proof of Oliver's relationship with Ava and posted it online, hiring a PR team to boost the story's reach. Soon enough, the headline "Grown Man Deceives Innocent High School Girl" was trending everywhere. For extra spice, I included my own story, painting Oliver as a dirtbag who abandoned the girlfriend that stuck with him through hard times to chase after an underage girl. I'd planned to wait until the buzz built up before dropping their real identities, but the internet is fast. Curious netizens soon dug everything up themselves. One account claiming to know the full story even posted several photos of the couple, clearly taken near Ava's school by her classmates. Cheating man, abandoned girlfriend, teenage side chick. This kind of drama always draws attention, especially with the underage part. I even got interview requests from reporters. I turned them down. Ava's parents, on the other hand, didn't. Ava being underage gave them the perfect angle. They insisted their daughter was innocent and naive, tricked by a manipulative, predatory older man. They swore they'd take Oliver to court and make him pay. The scandal exploded. Oliver got famous in all the worst ways. Public opinion backed Ava's parents and encouraged them to press charges. Caught between pressure and greed, they actually followed through and filed a police report with Ava. Once the legal troubles started, the studio completely fell apart. The last few remaining staff jumped ship. I kept tabs on the lawsuit, occasionally sending someone to advise Ava's parents, helping them extract every last cent they could from Oliver. They dragged it out for over 3 months before finally settling privately. And just like that, Oliver and Ava turned on each other, former lovers turned bitter enemies. He lost both the girl and the money. I'd call that a solid outcome. Chapter 8. I didn't expect Oliver to show up at my door. Hearing his voice again felt surreal, like something out of another lifetime. "Fiona, I know you hate me, but could you open the door? Just let me say a few words." "Open the door? Yeah, right." I rolled my eyes and shot him down immediately. "Didn't you say we should split up peacefully? Then get lost and stop bothering me. Fiona, please. Just a few words. That's all I ask. I said nothing. He took that silence as permission and began rambling through the door. Fiona, I know this sounds crazy, but just hear me out. The reason I acted that way at the wedding, it's because of a dream I had. In that dream, we were married, happy, and had a lovely daughter, but then something terrible happened. We lost her. Your aunt passed. And you blamed yourself. You had a breakdown, and we died together in a car crash. The dream felt so real. It terrified me, and that's why I did what I did. He kept going, even listing events that were about to happen as proof. If I hadn't been reborn too, and those things really happened afterward, I might have actually believed his crap. What did he mean by something terrible happened? What did he mean I broke down from guilt? I'd spent this whole second life trying not to think about our daughter, but now Oliver had the nerve to bring her up, trying to brush her death off like it was just some narrative device. My chest tightened with rage. I had to hold myself back from flinging the door open and slapping him across the face. Oliver, stop making things up. If we were so happy, then what about Ava? Or was she your true love in that dream? That's why you dumped me and ran straight to her, right? And now that she dumped you, the dream's fake all of a sudden? Oliver pounded on the door, his voice frantic. Fiona, I was scared. In the dream, you drove into me, and Ava saved me. That's why I felt grateful to her. Why I helped her family out. But I didn't love her. I was just being kind. I didn't know they were all using me. Fiona, please. We've been through so much together. Just trust me. One more time. Trust you? My ass. Even now, this bastard couldn't speak a single word of truth. His dream girl turned out to be trash. So now he was crawling back to the woman he left behind, hoping I'd play the fool again? I let out a cold snort. Oliver, you're asking me to trust you. Did you trust me? Just because of a stupid dream. You tossed me aside like garbage, and now you want me to believe you? The voice outside the door grew quieter. He was probably thinking, but it was all real. Real or not, it doesn't matter. This time around, it's all just a dream. If we really had a daughter, I said coldly, then I think she'd regret being born into this world. After all, with a father like you. Fiona. No, please listen to me. Stop. What are you doing? Hands where I can see them, don't move. I heard the chaos outside and finally let out a breath of relief. I opened the door. Oliver was pinned to the ground by 2 police officers, staring up at me in disbelief. You actually called the cops on me? Why wouldn't I? I looked down on him, eyes cold. After everything that went down recently, did you think I didn't see the news? Rapist. I'm not. It wasn't like that. That bitch set me up. Fiona, listen, just listen. Oliver was dragged away by the police to avoid further harassment. I took a trip with my aunt. The next time I heard about him, it was in a crime segment on the news. There he was, disheveled, eyes filled with madness. The man accused of murdering the entire Lin family. Everything resurfaced. But this time, the internet wasn't just condemning him for grooming a minor. Some people even started defending him. He was clearly pushed to the edge. I bet he was desperate. I always thought the Lin family set him up. Poor guy got played. I skimmed the comments and closed the page. I never expected Oliver to actually kill Ava's entire family. But honestly, if he did, it was like karma came early. He did the dirty work for me, and now, everyone who hurt me had paid the price. It was time for me to start over. Everything would be fine now.